Too bad you're not allowed to have vegetables on your diet. Welcome to episode 3 of Boudie and Banter. I'm Julian Donaldson. This is my beautiful wife,
Brittany Donaldson.
And yeah, as you can see, if you've been watching the earlier episodes, we did not previously have a backdrop, but have this finished now. A little more visual pizzazz. Yeah. So moving forward, I am 30 years old.
Oh, you are. To me, you're still stuck at 29. You'll never be 30. It's okay. I am just recently 33. I am the cradle robber.
Yeah, all of our friends back home, for years she had cougar jokes, which, when we were a lot younger, was silly and back and forth. Now it's just goofy. But, so if you tuned in before, we've got a 5-year-old and a soon-to-be 2-year-old here with us in beautiful Billings, Montana. I also married into 2 wonderful stepsons that actually pretty soon here we're going to be picking up for half of the summer. Do you want to delve into Brittany and Landon?
Yeah. So they're going to be 12 and 14. Like, next month. It's crazy to think about. We're going to have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and a kindergartner
and
coming up.
Preschooler?
Preschool. Pre-preschool. Is that a thing?
2, but they give them homework. So that's an interesting difference to me. But so I figured the last couple episodes we've focused a lot on kind of our outlook, our mentality, what our goals are, how we want people to feel, what the studio environment's like. But I figured now would be a good episode to focus a little more on us, and if there's any curiosities there, back and forward. Again, if there's any questions, any goofy videos, any just thoughts. Last episode I kept saying boudieandbanter@gmail.com, and I noticed it when I was editing afterwards that I screwed up the name every time, but it is boudiebanter@gmail.com. And whether it be questions, comments, links to videos, if it's something too crude or whatever, I'll go through and. Oh, yeah. Fuck. Trying to focus on the uhs too. We're at the beginnings of this podcast. Well. Was there a shit ton of uhs right there?
Yeah.
Okay. But delving into that and hopefully having eventually a full back and forward section where it's going back-to-back emails. At the end of probably every episode, we're going to have a section like that. And, yeah. So, rolling into likes. What's your favorite thing to do?
Work.
It's a problem sometimes.
I don't have hobbies. I was forced to have a hobby.
Yeah. No, so that's definitely something. When we first met, we were very much outdoor all the time. Fishing, swimming, camping, back and forth there. And we rolled into more, when I was in the Navy, she was always busy with the kids and focusing on eventually the upstart of a photography business. And so I spent a lot of time in a metal ship, and she spent a lot of time studying and finding potential clients and model calls and the like. So I definitely think that our hobbies and our preferences have kind of shifted over the years. I've always kind of been a nerd. So from a super young age, I played lots of games. And even to this day, I've still got Navy buddies where I'll hit them up after not having talked for months on end, and we'll play a game for hours.
I just recently got into games too. Well, I guess I can't quite say recent anymore. I think it was our COVIDcation.
Our staycation.
Yeah, well,
what
because
did we play?
of COVID.
Do you remember? We sat
Horizon.
and played. Oh yeah, a game with a red-haired, futuristic gal fighting robot dinosaurs.
It was so cool.
And we were both sick and we felt like crap, so sitting on the couch and taking turns and kind of enjoying that together was really pleasant.
Yeah, and this was early on when quarantine was 10 days. Wasn't quite the whole 14, but I guess he was 4 at the time. Yeah. Got tested positive for COVID. So we all had to quarantine together as a family. And that was actually like the best 10 days of my life.
Yeah, yeah. Aside from eventually our soon-to-be 2-year-old Nicholas, who we affectionately dubbed Squish, he got back-to-back RSV and COVID, and probably for the next 14 months of his life, he was just congested all the time, just snot-faced. Like, I mean, little kids are like that inherently, but I mean, this was
like rattly chest,
outrageous.
constant.
Yeah.
And they actually said that he might not grow out of it until he was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
No, I keep getting like
tickle.
Yeah. But he actually is doing much, much, much better now. But that was really scary, actually. He ended up with RSV and in the hospital for 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Lots of back and forth there. That's when I was working at the power plant. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up having to stay home some so we could rotate out. And yeah, scary times. But in the past, he's a healthy, happy, chubby little boy now.
I wouldn't say happy all the time.
I mean, not all the time, but he's rolling into 2. And, I feel like we got it. Yeah, well, he's pushing everything, every button you could imagine. Jace was actually a really, really good 2-year-old.
He was. He didn't get rough up until maybe 3.5, 4.
Yeah, closer to 4. And yeah, some of the shifty stuff the kids do, some back and forth, some sneaky stuff. But he's been mostly good lately. There was one incident after it was his 3rd strike, and sneaky lying, anything like that. As a parent, I'm very, very inherently against. That's some of the least desirable traits I could ever see in a human. So strike 3 of him sneaking his tablet to bed when he was supposed to be sleeping, and at first I was afraid that I was too much, and I scared him a little bit, but I caught him, and I didn't say a word. I went in there, I picked his tablet up, and I broke it over my knee. And we knew that we were rolling up on the point where we would be replacing it that Christmas, because he had it for a while. He had treated it good, but it was slow, it was old, it was on its way out. So we knew we were coming up on a new one, and I thought, kind of a shock value moment, and then a couple months without a tablet was a reset that was important.
And just last month?
And
you caught him sneaking his tablet again?
Last month.
It's like, man, don't you learn?
But you know what? That was, 8 months? No, he got it last Christmas, right?
No, he got it for his...
Not last, but the one before.
Yeah, his birthday.
Yeah. So it's been...
almost 2 years.
Yeah, almost 2 years. So it was great for a long time. Grounded him for a week from all electronics, and I think that might have actually been harder on us than him, because he was just constantly up our butts, like, entertain me. It's like, no, child. You are grounded. This is a life lesson of finding a way to entertain yourself.
Because... Dad, can I turn on the light switch?
Oh, yeah. So, he took my my words very literal, and so it was stuff like our Alexa, we play music all the time, and I was like, nuh-uh, you're not allowed to talk to her. And he's like, oh, man. And so then it came to the point where he's like, Nicholas wants to listen to this. And I was like, Nicholas is asleep, man. But then, yeah, he started asking stuff like that. He's like, Daddy, can I turn the light on? And I'm like, okay, when I said electronics, I meant like entertainment. Like anything other than that, you're good to go. But that was
yes, you can turn the light on.
You can turn the light on. But yeah, all 4 of our kids are great kids that are all on the right track. It is definitely interesting to have them in kind of 4 different brackets of young life, but exciting.
Yeah, we've got all from the crazy teenager to the sassy 2-year-old that's acts like he's 16.
Oh my God, he rolls his eyes so hard he throws his neck out, and his side eyes are the most aggressive, like malicious side eye I've ever seen. But then he'll like shake it off and do this little old man jig, and then come in for a hug. So I don't think he realizes how aggressive his sass comes off. I mean, like I said, 2-year-old. There's no way that he would, but
I guess hobbies. Back on that one.
mm-hmm.
So you forced me, and then I joined a women's bowling league. That was fantastic. It was super long league though. It was like 28 weeks long, and then that recently just got over, and we've been talking about doing a cornhole league. So that should be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Have something else to do besides work.
And yeah, like she said, it was a women's bowling league. So it was her two of her super close friends, and then some auntie, mom, and other gal fill-ins.
Well, mom was a main person on the league.
Right, the four main were you, Tia, Alex, and mom, right?
Yep.
Okay. But
yeah, I had to get my mom out of the house too. I was like, if I have to have a hobby, so do you, and you're coming with me.
Yeah. But because it was one of those things, like I said, initially we were nonstop go. We both had a very much work hard, play hard mentality, and then through nuclear navy into power plant electrician. By the time I got home, I was like, yeah, the outside sounds terrible right now. I have little energy, and I spent sometimes, well, especially here in Billings when it was negative 20s, 40s, 50s with wind chill. Yeah, by the time I got home, I did not want to do anything outside whatsoever. So there was definitely kind of a paradigm shift there. But I was talking to Britt one day, and I was like, what do you want to do for fun? And she's like, well, like, I want to fish, and I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, I'm happy to do that sometimes, but I want to do stuff with you.
Maybe once a year.
She's like, yeah, but it's really hard, with the boys and this, that, and the other. And I was like, well, we need to get you an outlet. And she's like, yeah, but work is like my passion and my outlet. And I was like, not what I mean.
No, you need to break away from work.
Yeah,
you need to leave work behind, go find something.
Yeah.
And then Alex asked me if I wanted to be on a bowling league, and I was like, I can't bowl. And she's like, that's fine. That's what handicap is for. And then by the end of it, we actually took second, which is mind-blowing. But I was like, this is why you wanted us, Alex, because we suck so bad that our handicap was high enough that we got second.
Yep. And Alex is definitely a gal that I eventually, one of these episodes, want to have her on.
Oh,
super close friend. They initially met through a session, and she is an enigma. She is an oxymoron in so many varying degrees. Before I had actually met her, when Brittany was telling me about her, I was like, that's super weird. She seems like a wonderful, happy, young, almost childish soul, but also like a grumpy old spirit.
Yeah, like a grumpy old grandma.
Yeah. And she has this way of she doesn't meet in the middle. She's simultaneously opposite ends of the spectrum of so many things. She runs Spartan races and does physical therapy. But she loves crumble cookies. Like,
crumble is definitely her downfall.
Everything makes it work, and she's wonderful. But
she's the adopted auntie.
Yeah, both the boys.
She is 100% family
from
like our perspective, from our boys' perspective, from my parents' perspective. Like,
But yeah, other than that, we do a lot. We do a lot of outdoor cooking, smoking. We both have food backgrounds, so we bring different things at the table, and we like to try new stuff.
Besides
unless it's beans.
Oh yeah, I don't like beans.
And I've tried to sneak beans into so many dishes and meals over the years, trying to be sneaky, blending it, emulsifying it, and she's even when she doesn't explicitly say like there's beans in this, what the f-? Oh, I need to watch those too.
You can bleep it out.
Yeah, I can bleep it out. I can say fuck as much as I fucking want to. Yeah, even when she's not directly like, this has beans in it. Like, why are there beans in this? It's like, there's something about this I don't like. And I thought she was messing with me at the beginning. I was like, there's no way. There's no way.
I don't.
Yeah, it's an inherent thing.
It's gotten so bad that like I can't even have chili, even if it's beanless chili, because chili is made with beans, like proper chili, or I don't know what's actually proper. So
yeah, no, you're right. Proper chili should have beans in it.
And yeah, I can't.
Not a fan.
Nope.
Not a fan.
I like green beans. Does that count? Has the word beans in it.
No. But yeah, like she was about to get into earlier. Right now, what's the date? The 3rd?
I think so.
So we have 1 week left. We had tried a chicken and broccoli diet when I was still working at the power plant, and it was not great.
No, it was awful.
I think I took it a little bit better than you did.
But I don't pick any of them very well.
Yeah.
But like that one was that sucked so bad. Like I thought I was never gonna want to eat broccoli ever again. But thankfully, I actually really like broccoli. So.
But we tried that, and we set out to do it for a month, and I think we made it 2 weeks before we convinced each other that we didn't want to do it anymore. So it was a valiant effort, but we were like, this is terrible. Like this is awful. And then we just sort of lived normal for a while, and then just under a month ago, well, I should say about a month ago, we started talking about I've been wanting to try the carnivore diet for a while, because there's a lot of people I look up to that very much are fans of it. Jordan Peterson, Dr. Drew.
Joe Rogan, did he do it?
I know Joe Rogan tried it. I don't know if it was an ongoing thing though.
Well, I think he did it for a month.
Probably, but it's a great start point, right? There's few diets where you can actually like really damage your organs through 1 month. But this is one of those ones where I feel like if you don't have it calibrated well, you could definitely cause some overtime damage. But in a week we hit our 1 month point, and we went pretty direct with it. We didn't go big on organs or anything like that, but no dairy. No dairy, no fruit, no vegetable, no sugars. No cheating really. The one exception was on Saturdays, which this is another interesting thing that I never thought that I would be interested in. But Brittany and her family are Jaeger fans, and my whole life it was like Jaeger bombs. Like, cool, I'm down for Jaeger bomb or two throughout the night if we're out, at the club or the bar or whatever. But they genuinely, if we're gonna take shots as a family, we're busting out 6 Jaeger brand shot glasses that are 32 degrees exactly, and we're gonna have a family round of Jaeger, and and so that was something that I was not accustomed to. But Jaeger, for those of you who don't know, is rather sweet, and sweets were definitely something that was ixnay through the duration of this diet. But on Saturday, we were like, all right, Saturday's the day where if we're having our normal vodka drinks, which are also against the diet, but exceptions needed to be made.
Vodka water Mio.
Yeah, vodka water with Mio. It's a full shot, 70 calories for a drink. Have 3 or 4 of them and call it good. But
it's also a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
so much cheaper.
True.
We were just talking about this earlier on because Julian was a really big Twisted Tea fan, and a 12-pack is $15-$16, and he'd buy one.
15 to 19, depending on if it's a grocery store or gas station or whatever.
And they only last a night or two.
Yeah.
But we just recently found that at our liquor store, like the actual liquor store, not the like casino liquor stores, you can buy the giant bottle of Sky vodka for like $35. You're like,
30, and we've been recently getting them for 24 on sale. But it's one of those things, if that lasts us a couple weeks, it costs less, it's less calories, it's more healthy, and
we're trying to be healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And when there's a million variants of Mio and great value brand Mio and all that shit, you can make your drink taste however you want. So it's nice to be able to have, the inverse of the chicken and broccoli diet, where shit can actually taste different, and that's nice. But yeah, we got about a week left. And then at that point, I think we're both going to maintain a semblance of diet, but we're both going different directions.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm going to do more of the keto style, at least for a little while. My cravings have completely shifted. Like, all I want is a salad. Like, or some cucumbers. Like, I just want a cucumber so bad
Yeah.
right now.
So I jokingly said earlier today, I looked at her and she was like, I want a salad or a cucumber. And she listed off a few vegetables and I was like, too bad you're not allowed to have vegetables on your diet. just an interesting thing that I never thought that I'd ever say. Music. What's your favorite genre?
I mean, depends on my mood, but I'm definitely more of a country girl.
Yeah.
Which is not really ever allowed in this house, so that sucks. And it's not allowed in the studio really either.
The studio, I understand.
Tiffany hates country music.
Yeah, but that's more client-based, I feel. Yeah, if you guys are just hanging out, then it's like, I get it.
We do listen to a lot of 2000s R&B. Yeah,
that's fair.
That's been my jam for probably the last 2 or 3 years.
And that's a good blend of...
It just brings me back.
Yeah.
And all the music was just so good. But we pretty much listen to everything. I have convinced... Well, I didn't really give him a choice either, but we're...
Johnny Cameo.
We're going to spend 3 days at Country Jam this year. And thank you, Tia, for getting me to impulse buy those tickets.
Another gal that eventually we want to get on here. She's both Alex and Tia have been huge parts in practice model calls.
Just the business in general. Tia owns her own business as well, so we get to bounce a lot of things off of each other and watch each other grow, and it's been really cool. A really, really interesting journey that we've gotten to take together. You are going to knock over that.
Don't bite it. God, you're such a dick sometimes. And yeah, even recently, Britt came up with the idea. You found it, right, initially?
What?
The paintings?
No, that was Tia's idea.
That was Tia. Oh, beautiful. See, case in point. Tia found a sip and paint idea. And so they ended up banding together. We did a bunch of cross.
I think we talked about this in the last one a little bit.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But worked together, and they ended up using our studio. And it was a show up, have some mimosas, some food, and take your pants off, paint your butt, and plant it on a... we ended up going with a 30 by 40 canvas. And we got most of them in black, some of them in white, and then between, I guess, mostly the two of us, mostly you, honestly, spray painted the white ones black so that it was consistent. And then we found all sorts of stuff, glitter, some glitter paint, a bunch of different stuff to where you do your butt print with one leg down, so the thigh is showing, and then the calf of that leg. And your other leg is up, so it's butt cheek and then the bottom of your foot, and then both of your hands. And they found a way to do most of it upright, and then everybody got to take whatever colors and decorations and whatnot they wanted to and spice it up. But we found, it took some research, but we found a way to do it pretty cheap, and they ended up having, I think the final count was 21, 22?
I think it was, I don't know.
I think it was 21 initially, and you picked
12.
up one more person. 9 and 12, 21. Okay. I could have swore you guys picked up one more at the very end. But no, everybody had a blast.
Yeah, it was so much fun. It ended up being like the best girls' day ever, and we definitely touched on that stuff earlier.
Yeah. But yeah, rolling forward, we're looking forward to. So I've been home for 2.5 years.
Oh, from the Navy.
Yeah, 2 years, 2 years and 3 months. Now Billings, Montana, and you're coming up on 4.5.
I moved back in February of 2020.
Okay, so
the end of February, like 2 weeks before the world shut down, I moved home.
So we definitely want to get into more fishing, and we could just recently do that.
Because I just now finally got my Montana driver's license. That's why you wanted to know how long I've been home. You're a butthole. But my license was gonna expire on my birthday, and I was like, you know what? I guess it's finally time.
It was so funny because like I had been through Montana a few times, but I was born and raised in Sandpoint, Idaho, far up north in the old Panhandle. And then I spent 2 years in Goose Creek, South Carolina, and then another 4 years in Virginia. And I literally got out of the Navy and moved here with my wife. And I had a Montana driver's license before her, which it was just so silly to me.
But now I can get a in-state fishing license, and they won't yell at me because they're like, this is illegal.
They were so rude.
She was so mean. And she just kept, like, eyeing me. And I was like, I just want a day pass, man. Like, we just want to go fishing, please.
Yep.
Can you just not? I will eventually, and I did. I still have the paper copy at the moment. I don't even have the physical
But it's official.
copy.
It's official.
And I learned that I have to drive with my glasses on. So that was really sad.
The gal behind the desk asked her, she's like, do you have, like, any visual impairment or anything? Like, do you wear glasses? And
Well,
like I just looked at her.
No, she asked if I had to wear them for
I
driving.
looked at you, and then while I was looking at you, she goes, do you need them to drive?
Oh.
And you said, no.
Well, because
And
I
I was
never
like,
have.
Really?
I've never needed, like, obviously they help me, but I never thought I, like, needed them to drive until I had to take the little eye test.
Yeah, then right after that, she's like, oh, okay, cool. Do you want to step over here? We're just going to do a quick test. And as soon as Britt got up, I was like, this is going to be interesting.
I was reading the first line, and, well, I wasn't. I couldn't. I couldn't see anything.
Trying to read the first line.
I was like, okay, I lied, I guess. Like, I didn't realize how bad it was. And she's like, yeah, we're going to have to put that on your license. So you should put them on and then see if you can read it. And I was like,
it's official
darn
now.
it.
Yup.
And I can't do contacts. I tried. It stressed me out.
I put a lot of pressure on that because, like, it sucks. It's painful at first. It takes weeks. I remember when I was younger, when I first got my contact prescription, because I talk shit on her, but I am so much more blind than she is. When my contacts aren't in, I can see feet in front of me. It's terrible. But I do remember when I was younger that the process of getting acclimated to being able to wear them and it being more of a normal thing, lots of tears. Lots of retraining my brain to be like, it's okay to touch your eyeball without trying to, like, blink on it. And now I can move them around. I can pop them out and pop them in. It's very much the past. And I kept trying to tell Britt that. And she's like, my eyes don't work like that. That's not how this works.
No, my brain doesn't work like that. The thought, like, I can't watch it come in. The amount of times you had to try and take them out or put them in for me, and I'd get one in and I couldn't get the other in, so I'd start panicking, and then I couldn't get the one I already got in out, and then I'd panic more, and it was
panic and frustration
and tears
emotions.
And I'm late for work, and like, nope. I just stick with my glasses.
Yeah,
maybe again at some point I'll try again, but not right now.
Yeah, not right now. All right, let's get into some TikToks. I swear, every time we roll into TikToks in these episodes,
I need to refresh my drink.
Pinot drink. So whenever you see that cut, those of you that are watching this on YouTube or Spotify video, that's what the cut is. Nothing egregious happens.
I just need a new drink, and I have a mom bladder. I've had 4 kids.
All right. So let's go with this guy. Is that a nose or an ear?
That's an ear.
That is a very hairy ear. Was it completely blocked off? This makes me think of Quinn. It's not Fathead Ding Dong Quinn.
Oh.
Quinn Pyatt.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly couldn't watch the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah.
See, stuff like this, I don't have like a draw to watch stuff like this. That's another Bert thing. Because, he smells gross and bangs dogs. But, I don't have an aversion to stuff like this because I see it as a problem that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
But,
there's like lots of wax.
Yeah.
Lots and lots. He's so gentle and
it's like a
delicate
plug.
about it.
I mean, you have to. You don't want to hurt somebody.
Well, I know, but
This is a strange one for you.
it is. I know. When I saw it and thought it was gross, and honestly, and like I'm still finding myself looking away from it. But like, I guess being able to see what it actually looks like
It
in
looks
there.
like he's pushing it in
No,
further,
that's his nose.
Oh, okay, I was like, that's a hairy ass ear.
That's his nose. So is that like just massive boogers that are stuck in there?
He's got some squish shit going on for sure. No, that looks like it's like hardened, calcified or anything, but I have no idea.
Why is it that now I know that those are boogers?
God.
It freaks me out.
Okay,
less.
this is 3.5 minutes long. All right, good enough on the nose bit or ear bit or whatever that was. Oh yeah, so hobbies. A little brief summation back on that. My wife has an interesting one that is interesting to me because she is a excellent mom. Her heart is so big, and she reaches out.
Kids getting hurt.
Do you see the smile on her face right now? She loves it so much.
I like when they actually
so we're
get
gonna
hurt.
go with this one.
Look at these kids getting hurt. Oh my god. Do you remember Jason?
Yeah.
In the mirror?
That's specifically why I grabbed it. Do you see this right now?
I get it from my mom. It comes out so bad.
I thought it was a good opportunity to showcase that she's sick. She has a problem.
No, none of those kids got seriously
None
hurt.
of them actually got hurt,
If they
and that's definitely
did, that's when I like.
that's a big defining moment of
and
like,
my
oh no.
heart sinks, but
even now,
scaring small
you know,
children, it's like
our 5-year-old comes hot dogging in the room and bounces his head off like the wall and then eats it, and he's like, ah, and we're like, are you okay? And he's like, no. And we're like, well, I mean, like, you're not bleeding, nothing's broken, you're not concussed, you know. And they're like, so what do I do? And I'm like, don't do that anymore. Like, don't do that anymore.
that doesn't help. We're like, don't do it.
Or our 2-year-old is ravenously eating something and a finger gets slipped in there.
And he bites his fingers.
And he gets so mad and sad and just like all the emotions come out. And it's one of those things, it's just, you don't do that. But if I had $1 for every time I told one of our kids, don't do that. Because that's, I mean,
We have a lot of dollars.
there's times where that's the best advice you can give. Like, yeah. All right, so moving forward into shoot and share. What's that?
It's a pretty big competition, and by pretty big, it's like the biggest free photography competition in the world. They actually had entries from 39 different countries this year. Almost 90,000 photos were submitted. So I found out about this competition. I think I did it the very first time in like 2018, and I only submitted like 10 images.
Yep.
And I was still very, very new. And I wasn't even really following along that much. But then I moved here in 2020, and they had another one.
You, I don't know, your first year might have been 19?
It might have been 19.
I know that you submitted in 2019.
Oh, then yeah, that was my first year.
Okay, so first year was 19.
And then 2020, and the world was already shut down. So I was like, cool, now I have something to do and like focus on. And kind of how it works is you can submit up to 50 images, and you choose the category that they're supposed to go in. And
For each photo, yeah.
Yeah. And there's 10 rounds. So, and you can't see who posted them. Like, there's no information. It just has 4 photos and the category, and you have to choose your favorite. And that's it. So super simple, very, like, you can't cheat. You can't have, it's not a popularity contest of any sort.
Yeah.
And my goal was, I think I wanted to make it into the 20th percent. Or like round 6, I think was my goal. Like I just wanted to make it to round 6. And I made it to round 6, and then I made it to round 7. And the only way you actually know that you're still in is if somebody hearts one of your photos, because it'll send you like, hey, somebody loved your photo. But you don't know which ones are in, like none of that until the very end. And that was during it was a very big, like, Black Lives Matter. And I don't remember all the details. I just know that the owner at the time it got brought to light that he wasn't the best person and he did not agree with the whole Black Lives Matter situation. I don't want to call him a racist.
People were calling him racist.
Thank you.
And through that, there was a lot of conflict of interest, because at this point, sponsors, supporters, and photographers
were all pulling out of the competition. They didn't want to be associated with it whatsoever. And then at the very end, like, I stayed in. I just kind of kept really quiet. I didn't really do a lot of voting towards the end because I felt like the magic was gone, and and so many people backed out. So when I actually made it to the 10%, and I felt like that was unfair because so many people had pulled out, but I was still, like, really proud of myself, but I had to kind of, like, keep it to myself.
Take a step back of, like, this might be an unfair representation.
Yeah, and people weren't putting their badges, because you get badges that you can put on, like, your websites and stuff, and they weren't putting them up. They weren't talking about it. Nobody was bragging because it was just very negative.
Yeah,
like, it just had this huge negative effect. And I was like, well, that sucks, and that's really sad. And then the next year, they did it again, and there was still some negativity.
Well, not only that, but at this point, that was the last one that they had, Boudoir, as a
yeah.
So yeah, new ownership, no boudoir category, but
yeah. So for 2 years after that, there was no boudoir category, and I
think they were trying to be very, very conservative in their outlook after a fallout like that happens. They went into damage control mode. Like, we are in charge of this project now. We need to ensure that there's as little controversy as possible.
Yeah. Well, they got rid of boudoir and birth. And a bunch of people would complain, so they'd only see the complaints. They wouldn't see the people that, like, shoot those things.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, I vote with my kids, and my kids don't need to see that. And it was like, they give you the option to hide 2 categories. So if you don't want to see it, then you can select not to see those ones.
Yeah, so, 1 or 2 or 0.
And it's an actual genre. And then last year, I really wanted to be a part of it because a lot of the negativity had gone away. And I went in and I realized that they still didn't, like, boudoir wasn't a thing. And there was a pretty big uprising, not uprising, but, like, uproar of boudoir photographers that were like, hey, like, that's all we shoot.
We're not being represented.
We want to be a part of this massive, beautiful competition too. And that's all we shoot, but you're telling us we can't. And so this year, they brought it back. At PG-13, which I totally and completely, like, that's fair.
Absolutely.
And pretty much everything I shoot is, for the most part, that anyways. So,
unless requested otherwise.
Yeah.
As modest or
not
as you
like.
Well,
I can't say as not, because the whole erotica.
You start rolling into, pornographic or overly sexual. That's something, but implied. I feel like implied is a very, very important aspect of this genre, and it depends. Every woman has a goal with a session, and sexuality can be super empowering.
Yeah.
So
they brought it back, and birth, but they also, like, limited that too, because I do remember seeing a lot more. I don't want to say graphic, because I believe that birth is, like, the most beautiful thing in the world, but I also understand that not everybody feels that way.
Gonna segue into this.
So they brought them back. We put together our 50 favorite images, and then actually voting recently started. Well, yesterday? Technically, we're in round 2.
Technically, yeah.
And we're going to see where we go, because I have grown so much as a photographer and as a person over the last 2 years, or 3 years, I guess, because I did in 2020.
So much more than she will admit to. Because me being, again, if you haven't tuned into the other episodes, it's just over 3 months since I came home and we started polishing and fine-tuning and
working together as a team.
Yeah, working together. Well, I mean, I feel like we've worked together as a team for a long time.
Yeah, but like for the business to like build the business.
But projects like this, weren't possible because of you didn't have the time. It wasn't feasible to be able to do something like this, and.
But at this point, so this would be cool to like touch on every week until the voting is over. But as of right now, I'm still in round 2. And that's all I can really update
Weekly
on.
updates, yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. Be like, what round is it now? It normally goes for about the month because there are 10 rounds and there are so many pictures. I think there was like 90,000 pictures submitted. Mm-hmm. And the algorithm forces every photo to be seen 4 times.
And voting won't end until that happens.
Yeah.
So if it bleeds over, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I'd say voting takes about a month, but it's also one of those things having more liberties and more freedoms and having more genres of photographers being able to submit. Everybody wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just fun. And I mean, the winners, like the very, very top people, obviously get some pretty cool stuff, but the whole process is really fun. And just to kind of see where you are versus where you've been is the biggest reason why I want to do it. Like
this
I
mentality.
Want that finalist.
Also, this mentality is something that I think is fucking beautiful. Is that I feel like a lot of people, their mentality is how do I stack against other people? Am I better than the people around me? This it's almost. I wouldn't say put down mentality, but it's so much you against them.
Yeah, I'm very much community over competition,
which has been proven time and time again. But I really value the fact that your competition is past versions of yourself. When you look back and you say, I was proud of where I was then, but where I am right now. I clobber that me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's important. You have no idea where everybody else has been and what they've done. But story. You know where you've been.
Yeah.
And as long as you can be a better you tomorrow, that's why I'm taking this class. I just recently signed up for like a pretty intense, like actual, like almost classroom style class. That teaches you
high school supplies the other day. She's got her 3-ring binder and sticky nose highlighters.
And Jace was so confused. Mom, why are you going to school? Like, you're too old.
He's like, you're an adult. You're smart. You know things. Why are you going to school for it? I was like, dude, you got to realize like some of the smartest people I know have been going to school their whole life. Like there's always more things to learn.
Yeah, but so that's really exciting, and that just started. I have my first like classroom Zoom tomorrow, and I have to get over my social anxiety and just rock it out because they can see me. It's not like just watching a live. Like we're all in a classroom together.
Yep. Oh, so. And then another thing. So the focus.
Oh, it's on like body language and facial expressions. It's called Strip Down, and it teaches me how to teach other people how to properly execute different facial expressions. And even as far as like, I saw one of her like demonstrations is like starting with your eyes down and your head down kind of, and then saying like A-E-I-O-U as you come up really slowly. And like, so giving my clients an action to do, even if they feel silly, because I guarantee me and Tiffany will do it with them the whole time. We breathe with them already as it is. But if you're really uncomfortable, sometimes still getting the facial expressions or portraying different body languages, it can be more difficult. So this whole entire class is based off like body language and facial expressions. And I am so excited. We just launched a model call today. And last time I checked, I haven't checked for a while. So
it was earlier today, and she was like, I should put this up for a weekend. And I was like, I think you should put it up for at least a week. Because having the openness and variety, because each training session, they've specifically told her they're going to focus on an expression, and it needs, I think, 2 model calls per expression, or is it one?
Because we learn 2 different expressions each, like each time.
Hmm.
So I need one model for each of those expressions.
Got you. So the big thing is having a essentially a questionnaire of everybody's resting face is different. Everybody's what they pride themselves in is different. So assuming a gal is going to be great for a scowl, or if they want to show anger, and
actually, anger's not even one of them.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But I mean, for example.
But yeah, there's 10 different ones, and anger is not one of them. Because you don't want to be angry.
No. But I was saying, for example,
you can be sassy.
If somebody super, super bubbly comes in, and they're just cutesy and happy, and you're like, can you give me a scowl? And they're like, eh.
No.
But, fielding a bunch of different gals that are interested in having this model call, and finding the best fit for each facial structure of what they're comfortable with in a manner to where she can use the terms that she learns and the back and forward to be able to guide that.
Yeah, and practice. And I actually had within the first hour, an overwhelming amount of ladies submit applications. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, I'm
way
so
more
excited.
than we thought. We ended up pushing it up to almost a week and a half. Yeah. I was like, you just got to make sure that you have a foundation of gals that are interested to be able to find, that back and forward. And I was like, is this, that, and the other? I was like, what if you don't find as many gals as you need? And she's like, well, we've got gals like we talked before, Alex and Tia. And yeah, no, overwhelming response.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see where that goes and see how my first class goes tomorrow. I won't be able to make all of them because I do normally shoot on Thursdays. So, but they record them and they post them back in the group, and you can go back in and like relearn and watch all the things.
And this is another thing that a prerequisite for when we're fielding these gals and scheduling these model sessions. It's for a class. So all of them it's required that if they want to be able to fill this slot for a model call, they have to sign a full model release. And if they're not comfortable with that, then they can go with a normal session or anything like that and have the
they just don't have the discounted prices and stuff. But because I also have to be able to, because we have to submit images to be critiqued by
not just the teacher, but potentially the class.
Yeah, and the alumni. The alumni stay in the class a lot and help and guide, and hearing some of their stories already has been like super awesome and like very motivating. And I was like, I'm gonna rock this. And I've already started, there's a whole list of books that I'm supposed to read, and I'm currently reading one on time management right now, which I think is hilarious because that is definitely something I need help with. But it's not the most exciting book I've had to read. My next one should be here in just a couple days, so hopefully I can bounce back and forth between the two, so that way I don't just burn out with learning how to manage my time better.
But no, so yeah, ultimately, if we're gonna update the shoot and share, we might as well update the model session trainings as well. And I can really throw up progression and have Britt break them down and what she's proud of and what's new and go from there. Yeah, obviously, if you're listening to this through a podcast platform where you don't have video, then if you really want to check it out, then bump on over to Beautiful Photography on YouTube. Otherwise, just listen and enjoy it. Yeah. Oh, so earlier, there was some back and forth. We were talking about in Shoot and Share the childbirth category, and this was something that I thought was interesting. We've touched base on all of our little ones, but so Jace, who's 5 now, coming up on 6. Actually, this October. I was very much active duty when he was born, and in the nuclear community, we did not have a lot of freedoms. There was happenstance where, like, if you get lucky, you can have it. If not,
you're SOL.
Yeah, bummer. And this was before COVID hit, and I was on a lovely 206-day deployment where I didn't get to see the land the whole time. I mean, I got to see it, but I didn't get to step on it. we were doing constant warm up underways. So I'd be underway for 2 weeks to 4 months, and they were pretty back to back. I'd be in port for about 2 weeks.
You were in shipyard when he was born.
Initially, yes.
I think that's the only reason why we got as lucky as we did.
Well, even then, I was on duty. I wasn't supposed to be able to leave the ship.
On duty, and you didn't have a phone.
So
I had to call the ship.
She called the quarterdeck, and they. This is the one time, like the one experience I had a bunch of stuff with like my junior sailors, where so much was lost in translation that they just missed events. But I was down in the plant. I was on duty, which for those of you who don't know, for 24 hours you are on the ship. There is no reason where you would leave. And not only was I on duty, I was actively on watch down in the plant. And my divisional officer came down, requested to enter this classified space, and he brought one of my very much at the time senior sailors with him that was qualified probably 5 watches beyond mine. And he's like, Donaldson, sign on the logs. Cogger's gonna sign in for you. And I was like, what is happening? At first I thought I was in trouble. I was like, what is happening? And they're like, your wife just went into labor. She drove herself to the hospital. And I was like, oh my God. And so I sign out. And then it's me and my divisional officer literally sprinting through the P-ways to my berthing so I can pack a backpack real quick. So I'm in top to bottom blue digital camo.
But yeah, because it was still blue at the time.
Yeah. This is before they swapped to the Mark IIs. But I'm sprinting at this point off base. I'd called an Uber, and it was his first day, and I scared the out of this guy. So he got his first drive, and it was like some little old lady that needed to go like a few blocks, and then mine came in. And he was like, oh yeah, let's grab this one. So he's pulling up alongside base. He has no like normal interaction with military at all. I found this out in the last like quarter of our drive. But I called him coming off the ship. We were in shipyard, so I wasn't supposed to have my phone on me. But it was like normally you keep it in your pocket off until you get off base and you turn it on and you can do your stuff. But I was like, I don't care. Like if a master at arms or if anybody stops me, I'll just throw my phone at them and keep going. So I'm ordering this Uber while I'm running because it was a decent trek to the turnstiles to be able to leave this base. And it happenstance as he's pulling up, I'm coming out the last set of turnstiles, just full blown sprinting towards his car. And I get in, and I wasn't even thinking about it because like my only thought is my wife is at the hospital by herself right now. And so I get into the car, I slap my backpack off, and I'm like, this hospital now. And people who know me to be very jovial, happy, playful. Those of you who don't know me, I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, deep-voiced individual. And if there's any semblance of importance in what I'm saying when you don't know me, it's
scary.
People perceive me different from how I see myself. Let's just say that. But he was like probably 5 minutes in the drive. He was white knuckling the steering wheel, and like I saw like jitters in his shoulders. And and so at that point I realized like, holy I probably came off like way too strong with this guy. So I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. My wife's going into labor right now. I didn't think that I was going to be able to make it. We need to get there right now. And he's like, oh, I totally understand. And then for the rest of the drive, we talked normal, and I got to understand. He's like, "It's my first day, man. I didn't expect to see this guy like Terminator sprinting towards me in military stuff." Like,
and he showed up just in time for things to get intense.
Yep.
So he got there. I was laying on the bed and like in so much pain already, and they had IVs hooked up to me, which originally, and Julian already knew this, that was like not a thing. I didn't want IVs. I didn't want any interventions. Like, as natural as possible, and that's why we chose this hospital. But
yeah, and this will always resonate with me. Brittany told me like no matter how much pain I'm in, no matter what's going on, I don't want to be high the first time that I hold Jace. And I was like no, absolutely. Like I will fight tooth and nail so long as I am there. I will give whatever backup I need to the medical personnel and you to help stay strong and do it the way that you want to do it, which was hilarious, by the way, because it turns out her delivering doctor was this very small in stature, elderly Asian woman, and there was one point where she was hurting, she was in pain. We had gone on for a while, and she threw her head back and she goes, "I want it, I want to not feel this anymore. Like this is too much."
Right. Give me the epidural.
So she throws her head back and she looks down and she goes, "I want the epidural." And she makes eye contact with this Asian doctor, and she goes, "Oh, of course," and like nods with her, and she throws her head back, and then she looks at me and goes, I was like,
yeah, shakes her head.
It's too late. It's too late.
No, she's transitioning. There's no way. We're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Which I'm really glad.
In hindsight.
Yeah.
But then fast forward 3+ years.
Well, we should get into that in the next one. We'll leave one for now, and then we'll do the home birth story after that.
All right. So yeah, we'll open up. Wow, yeah,
yeah, we're running out of time.
I mean, but yeah. So so Jace, we got lucky. The way the Navy functions is one of those things where if you're active duty, I shouldn't say Navy, all branches, and in civilian jobs obviously have parallels, but I feel like there's a lot more family orientation, and the military's big on that. But
but we weren't actually married at the time either.
That was a big deal as well.
We didn't get like the perks of that. So
no paternity leave, no XYZ. But we got lucky. We got incredibly lucky. The role that I was holding at the time, not to sound like I was an important dude, because you need people in every position. But it just happened the position I was in, it was very much like, we don't care if your soon-to-be wife is going into labor. This is your job. And I just happened to have the right chain of command with the right people that were on duty with me that day, where I had a super senior sailor that I'd been on board for about a year. He'd been on board for about 3. So he was damn near fully qualified every watch that he was allowed to at his rank, and he maintained proficiency in this junior ass watch, and he took the watch. My Divo literally bullied the quarterdeck to get me off the ship. Like, we're in the shipyard and it's the middle of the day, you can't leave, and he was like, "I'm gonna start blowing shit up. Like, you have problems?" Like, he was like, "No." And he's like, "You salute this guy so we can leave the ship." I was like, "Ah." But no, it was wild.
It was a good experience. After he was born, they left for an hour, which was the first time I'd ever experienced that. Like, no washing, no weighing, no, like, literally nothing.
Skin to skin, just us as a family.
Yeah, for an hour, like a full hour. And it's like, this is amazing. This is why, because originally I wanted a home birth, but we were living with roommates, so that's not possible. And I didn't move to Virginia until I was like 29 weeks pregnant, so I couldn't get into the birthing center. And so that was the closest experience at the time that I had to what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we'll roll into the
and what she wanted. Spoilers. We'll talk about in episode 4. Now, that being said, so once again, Boudie Banter. We want to
Boudie Banter.
I did it again.
You did.
Boudie Banter. I'm gonna do the first one and then scratch it out the hand, and the second one I'll do. This is the right one. So any sort of back and forward. It would be great. We want to have a Q&A section, and those questions could be anything.
Literally anything.
Military, family, boudoir, how a session rolls.
Birth.
Birth.
I mean, I've done all of the things. I've gone from full medicated to birthing in my living room.
Spoilers. But no. So we would like to eventually have a section of each episode where it's as interactive with anybody that's interested to listen as possible, and whether that be silly videos or questions about us, or
send us videos. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But other than that, I think that we're going to tie it off for episode 3.
Yeah.
So we'll
Thank
see
you, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you for episode 4.